Hi everyone, I'm Steve Zaharakis, the CEO of Z Labs. We're the developers of Scuta. I'm very excited about our latest release of Scuta, but first, let me briefly review our website, counselorapp.com, your source for the latest on Scuta. At counselorapp.com, you can find more information about us, details about Scuta, including tutorials. If you're a school district, you can schedule a demo or get a quote. And finally, it's the only place where you could buy or renew your Scuta license. In this brief video, I want to highlight some of the capabilities of our latest release of Scuta, including interface changes, account setup, documenting events, goal and mission statements, curriculum and lessons, baseline and post testing. On the reports, talking about referral sources, focus analysis, and lesson analysis. My goal is to make you productive the first time you use Scuta, regardless if you are an experienced Scuta user or if this is the first time you're seeing Scuta. Our goal is your success and helping you make your counseling program take off. So let's get right into the program. First, we'll log into Scuta. And I'm going to use Katie Ledecky and enter the password. And we're in. So now this is the new interface that we have, an updated interface for Scuta. Notice this is the menu on the left. So we've got Kate Ledecky, the name, and here you can click and you can see my profile, lock the screen or log out, get out of that. It expires, the expiration date. There's a dashboard, which is what we're seeing in front of us right now, school, calendar, and reports. I could make this area larger by minimizing the menu, and I've got my short menus, the exact same as before. Or I could make it larger. I could make this full screen by clicking here on the expand, and if I hit escape, it'll get out of full screen. To the right is a logout, and here it's giving me my breadcrumbs, telling me where we are. So right now we're on the dashboard, and quickly there's mission statement, but there's nothing there because we haven't filled it in yet. This is the first time logging into the account. And we've got curriculum coverage and curriculum completion. Here we've got monthly use of time analysis. Again, for every month we'll have the percentages here. And here's, for those of you that are familiar with Scuta, here's your familiar summary of use of time analysis. It starts from the beginning of the year and it continues incrementing. Today is August 22nd, 2016. So this is all the data. Again, there's no data, so there's nothing to be shown. So let's go into the way that we should set up the account. We'll come in and set up the profile. When we look here, this is Katie's profile. This is her name, last name, username, email, title. There's nothing there. And nothing in the school information. The expiration expires, when it expires, and so on and so on. We've got showing the weekends, time resolution 15 minutes, school hours from 7:15 to 2:15, calendar hours from 7 to 6. Basically what we're able to do here is show areas on the calendar that are outside of the school hours, and in the future we'll be able to do reporting on our times within the school hours and outside. So let's go and edit the account. We're going to call, she's obviously a school counselor. And here we can come and specify the zip code of our school. I'm going to go with one of our schools here, 1855. Now just entering the zip code, underneath now we have the schools that are in that zip code. So if we pressed Stockton Valley Elementary, you can see the lowest grade it has from pre-kindergarten to 5th grade. If we were to pick the middle school, it's telling us the low grades are from 6th to 8th. And if we go with high school, from 9th to 12th. And it's telling us what the school district is. We'll talk about attributes and race and ethnicity at some other time. Here we've got the calendar. We can show the weekends if we want to or not. I'm not going to show them. Time resolution, 15 minutes. This is what most users use. And school hours from 7:15 to 2:15. The default, I could start my days at 7 a.m. and end them at, let's say, 7 p.m. And I'm going to hit save. And now if I look at Katie Ledecky here, you can see now it's got school counselor. And if I go to the dashboard, there's no mission statement. I could set the mission statement if I go to school and I have goals. And let's go to goals and mission statement. You see there's nothing here. I'm briefly just going to set the mission statement and say my school's mission statement. Okay, and I could put goals and user time analysis goals and everything. I'll keep this out for now. We hit save. We come back to the dashboard. Now you can see my school's mission statement. So I'm going to go into calendar, and we can see the calendar. Now we set the times until 7 p.m. And let's say that we're starting off the day at 7. So I'm going to start with the first event that I'm going to put down. The way that you do is you would click on the beginning of your time. While the mouse is down, drag it to the end of time. So now we're specifying from 7 to 8 o'clock. When I release, to the right, I have my inputs. So on the inputs, you see the categories. This is the 7 ASCA categories: school counseling, core curriculum, individual student planning, responsive services, referrals, consultation, program foundation, fair share responsibilities, non-school counseling, and special. We have added special so that you could document times that are not going to be counted in the calculations. So let's just say school counseling core curriculum. As I'm picking this, notice I've got a topic underneath it. This topic starts from assembly, goes to recreation volunteer. If I picked a different category, let's say individual student planning, this changes. So the topics that we have depend on what category we're using. And the whole interface is an intelligent interface here. It changes based on your inputs. So you can see here under responsive services for school counseling, much more interface than if we just had a behavior plan. Once again, let's just start off. We're going to start off with school counseling. I'm just going to say assembly. I'm going to leave everything blank just so that we can get going. And I'm going to, you can see here, you've got description, students and groups, notes, and repeat event. If it's a repeat event, you can have it daily, weekly. Since it's the 22nd, we're trying to make it intelligent every 22nd of the month or every 4th Monday of the month. So let's just create the simple event. And here is the event. So it's from 7 o'clock, and it's documenting what it is, and it's an assembly. If for some reason it was scheduled to go on at 7 o'clock, and to last 1 hour, but it lasted more, let's say an hour and a half, all that I would do is move the mouse over the bottom here, and you see it turns to a double arrow. Click and drag, and you can increase the size. Similarly, you can decrease the size back to an hour if you want. And if it didn't happen on Monday, but it happened on Tuesday, I can click and drag it to Tuesday, or move it around anywhere I want and release. So this part makes specifying times and documenting them very easy. The color coding is important. So we see now we've got one category. Let's go for a second category. I'm just going to pick individuals planning. I'm just quickly going to go through and create 7 events, one for each one of the ASCA categories. And I'm going to make them about an hour each, and referral consultation half an hour. I'm going to go into program, that's half an hour, and fair share responsibility for half an hour, and non-school counseling task for half an hour. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can see we have all 7 of the categories, and they're all color-coded, so it's easy to see what's going on. And the description really tells us what kind of event we have. Now I'm going to show you a couple more things quickly. I'm going to go back into my category, and let's just say it's school counseling, and I'm going to pick a classroom guidance lesson, and I'm going to have the referral source. Here we can have administrator, colleague, counselor, parent, peers, school-based, school staff support, self, the student, and the teacher. I'm just going to say it's the teacher. And the lesson, I'm going to have graduation. I'm going to create graduation requirements. And notice here, it's a new lesson that doesn't exist. So I'll just click new. And for my baseline, what this really means is you can make this as complicated or as simple as you want. Let's just say that there's 10 students in this, or let's just say there's 100. I'm doing it to the senior class. And I asked them how many of them know what the graduation requirements are. And let's say that I've got 50 of them, so half of the class, so that's 50%, know what the graduation requirements are. I do my lesson. At the end of that, 90% of them understand clearly what the graduation requirements are. Description, I could have a description that says first meeting. And the group, let's just say that it was 12th grade. Once again, 12th grade. It's new, so I'm going to hit new here. Creates 12th grade. Notes, next time, bring ice cream. Okay. And I'm going to make it a repeat event. I could make it monthly, weekly, whatever. I'm just going to have it daily so we could see it in front of us now. How many times? I'm going to say it's going to happen the first time and 3 repeating times. And I'm going to create the event. Now you see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 events that were created, and it describes everything that we've done. The classroom guidance, it's 12th grade, first meeting, graduation requirements is the class. Now, if this was a repeating event and I needed to move, it didn't happen on Tuesday at 12 o'clock, but it happened at 10 o'clock. I could take this, drag it, and release it. And it's asking me, do you want to move all of them or just this one? I'm just going to say just this one. Notice the rest stayed there and this one was moved. In this class, in the third, on Wednesday, I actually thought, you know what, why wait until 12th grade? Let's have 11th grade come also. So I'm going to come here and add 11th grade. So I had 11th and 12th grade on the second meeting. And in this class, the baseline wasn't 50%, it was 20%, and we went to 90%, or let's make it 85%. Again, notice here we only have 12th grade, here we have 11th and 12th grade together. And I'm going to create one more repeating event, and I'm going to put it here. And let's say that this one is a responsive service, and it is counseling group, and I'm going to have a referral source was administrator. And as far as the focus of the domain, I'm going to have anger management, and the lesson was no hitting. It's again a new lesson. At the beginning, let's say it was 10%, and at the end we were very successful and it was 100% learning. The description is no description. And as far as who was in the group, let's say John was in the group, again, new student, and let's say Mary was also in the group. And it's a repeat event. I'm going to say, again, it could be a weekly event, monthly, just so that we can see it on this one screen. I'm going to say daily, and it repeated 2 more times. And I'm going to hit create. And here we are, 1, 2 repetitions. Now again, obviously I could just move it and say this one didn't happen at that same time. In this event, the second time, Mary didn't show up, but Helen was there. So I just create that, and I could save it, and just save this one. And now you can see John and Mary, John and Helen, and in the last one, we had George show up too. So very easy, we just add the students. So now just for this event, so you can see here we've got John, Mary, John and Helen, John, Mary, and George. So it's very easy to document events. Oh, and the last one, this was a request from our users. Let's just say that on Friday, we had for the whole day, it was a special event, which was an in-service day. And we create this, and the whole day is in service. Okay, back to our repeat events. Let's just edit something. Here, all of these baselines and the results can change. You can make them change any way you want. Again, this could be as simple as just, that raising of the hands, or it could be as complicated as the average on a final exam. So you can have multiple questions and say that the average was 12%. After my lesson, it was 97%. This is very important because it's documenting really the effect of the school counselor. So let's hit save on this. And now we were able to actually look at our statistics here to the right. You can see that 97%, so it's green. We got a green check mark, and a red check mark. So here it's telling us that the school counseling core is 41.7, individual student planning 48.3, responsive services 33.7, referral services 4.2, which all add together to 87%. Program management is 4.2 plus 4.2, which is 8.4, which is less than the 20% of the goal. And here we got 4% of non-school counseling tasks. So let's come here and create another non-school counseling task, and let's just pick one of everyone's favorites. Let's go to duties, and we'll pick the cafeteria duty and see how that affects everything. If we look, it's still, well, it's less, it's 86%. If I increase this, you can see that dynamically our calculations are showing us what the result is. And if I move it again, the calculations are increasing. So you see, it's a very powerful interface. You're able to document your time and analyze it. And again, this does not take in, and this is not going to affect anything. So we're at 82%. If I come here and I delete this event, and come back, it's still at 82%. This is a very powerful interface. It's easy to use. We've really spent a lot of time and effort in making things easy, powerful, and self-documenting, if you will. Okay, so we focused so far on the input side. Let's look at our reports. Let's go to activity log. So on the activity log, this is all time-based. So if we look at what happened today, yesterday there was nothing there. So let's just go this month. And for all of August, this is what we're getting. And we could sort by date, increasing or decreasing, by start time, by topic. And if you wanted to see the notes, you would click here, and now you could see the notes or not see the notes. On the topic delivery, again, it's all time-based, so this is our time range, and we'd have to specify the topic. Let's go with core counseling, core curriculum, and we see that we had two different types. Assembly was 7.8% of the time, and classroom guidance lesson was 31.4% of our total time. So our total school counseling core curriculum time was around 40%, 39.2%. And again, we could see the details here. This is our little graph. We could put notes here if we wanted to, or comments, or we could minimize it. And here's the events. Let's go to the student groups. On the student groups, we would have to pick, let's just say, what did we do with 10th grade? And you can see 10th grade, there was an event. If we went with the 12th grade, we had more time there. We have more events. If we're looking at George, again, one of the students, or Helen, or any one of the students. This individual, the student group and service log is very powerful because, again, in one spot, you can see everything that you've done with an individual, all with a group or with a classroom. Coming to topics and Pareto analysis. On the topics, what we have is, it's an engineering analysis, and what it's showing us is it's focusing on the items that are most significant. If you look at the times, it's showing it in decreasing amount of time. So the topics that occupy the majority of our time are at the top, and we indicate only those topics that combined reach at least 50% of your time, which means that the topics that are shown here occupy at least 50% of your time. If you look at these two, it's 54.9%, and we highlight those topics. This way we focus on the important topics and not on the insignificant topics. On the use of time analysis, here again, it's got all of the categories, the ASCA categories, and this is a familiar, for those that are Scuta users, it's a familiar report. Everything again is color-coded. We've got the 7 ASCA categories. This is the percent time, the hours, and the frequency of each. So we can see everything's good here. We got 2 check marks, a little bit here on the non-school counseling task. Our goal is 0%, yet we've got a 10% actual. So here's our goal, and this is the actual. Let's go on in our reports. Referral sources. Now, teachers referred students 4 times, and the administrators 3 times. So 57% of the referrals are from teachers, and 42% from the administrator. Looking at the focus analysis, we only had one focus analysis right now. That was on the anger management. Now let's go to the lesson analysis report. And again, we could use the interface to maximize the screen. You can see here we've got no hitting, 900% gain. And when we look horizontally at the data here, I could minimize this, get this out of the way. And there's no event description. We didn't really describe anything. We've got no mindset behaviors or the domains. We've got the students. We don't have counts, baselines, results, but we can look at our results. So we took it from 10 to 100%. So 90 points we increased it. So starting off at 10, going up 90, that's a 900% change. If we look at all of the percent changes we have here, we've got 900 all the way down to 80%. So on 825 for 12th grade, we took their knowledge from 50% to 90%, which is an 80% increase. So this is an interesting graph because, again, it shows the effect that a school counselor has and on students and the lessons. So we could start, when we see something like this, we could actually go and document things. Again, here we've got descriptions. If we're looking at the descriptions, first meeting, and the other ones we didn't have anything. But when we look at the count, we see that there's a count of 0 for 12th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, 0. So let's talk about that for a sec. We're going to go into schools, and I'm going to go into students and lessons, and I'm going to go to 12th grade for a sec. You can see here, this is where we have all of the students in the group. So I'm going to go to 12th grade, I'm going to edit, and let's say for this 12th grade, I've got 125 male and 132 female, and I hit save. So my total count is 257 students, and you can see that it changes with an icon here. If we go back to the reports and to the lesson analysis, now you can see that automatically we've got a count here. Let's go and fill in a count for everything else. So we'll go back to students, and here let's go and put something in for 11th grade, and let's say that 11th grade was 150 male and 147 female. And again, the icons change. I could also specify, obviously, since it's 11th grade, I could specify that it was 11th grade. Save. And 12th grade, I would specify that it was 12th grade. For George, George is in 10th grade and male. Helen is in 10th grade and she is female. And John is in 11th grade, male. And Mary is in 11th grade and female. So now everyone's specified. There's a little icon next, so as you can see. So now what are we doing with this data? Well, if we look at reports and we go to our lesson analysis again, now you can see that we have counts here. The interesting thing about the counts is, look, we've got a 900% change with John and Mary, but look at our gain. Our gain is a calculation, and it's based on this percentage, so 9 times, because 900%, 2 is 18. Notice when we've got 3 students, we've got more of a change, meaning although it's the same percentage, since we had 3 students, we've had a more of an effect. And when we start looking at doing classes with large populations, although our gains are smaller, you can see percent changes are smaller, the gains are significantly higher. Okay. So from everything, if we go by gain, the most gain that we got, and again, this is a term that's, our opinion, the gain, and it's really multiplying this percentage change by the total count of students. So it's telling us that this was a more significant event than the others, if we're looking at the effect. So we've covered the reports, and we started to look at the schools again. And we looked at the students and the population, how to create that. We looked at the goals. And finally, let's look at curriculum. With curriculum, what we're able to do is we can create a new goal for the curriculum. And let's say that for 9th grade, we've got the mindsets and behaviors, and you can pick one of the mindsets you can have. You can have a note, and you can say if it's academic or if it's career or not. And now there is a goal that you have in the curriculum. Again, you could do this for 9th grade. You could pick a different goal. Or you could go into each one of your grades and specify your goals. On the lessons, we created these lessons, but there's nothing behind them. If we look at them, they're just empty. Nothing as far as the topics or anything like that. So we can go back into the lessons and edit this. So in the lesson, we can have an activity and we could type something there. Grade, we could specify which grades this is appropriate for. We left out 10th, let's add 10th. For the mindsets and the behaviors, we could say that it does this, it does academic, the objectives, the materials that we have, a link if we have a link to a document or something, how we propose to do the evaluation, and so on and so on. So this is a complete description of the lesson plan. You can save it, and let's do the same thing here for the no heading. And again, we can have the activity, we could say the grades, in any order you want, and the mindsets, and I'm just going to save it. So now you can see that we've created the lesson plan that's got the graduation requirements and no heading. If we go back into the reports and we look at the lesson plan, now this is the complete analysis underneath. You can see you've got the mindsets and behaviors for each lesson, the domains, the students, the counts, the grade, the baseline, the results, the gain. So this is why I think this is a very important report. In summary, if we're looking at the dashboard again, we're looking at what we're able to do with Scuta simply by adding this type of information. Let's summarize what we did. We entered the events. We specified our goals, curriculum, lessons, and students. And then from that, we have all of these reports that we're able to document. That's a quick review of the latest Scuta. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your time. Visit us at counselorapp.com where you'll find more detailed tutorials. Thank you.